Welcome back, everybody. We got lots to get into today, so let's just go ahead and lay it out the way it is. We're going to prove to you that Western Union is still working with XRP and Ripple today. We're going to show you that R3's Corda and the BIS, that's right, the Central Bank of Central Banks, are coming together here. And then we're going to jump into some other material that shows you not only are we waiting on the SEC, but there's another special agency that we need to talk about as well. Let's roll that footage because XRP is about to break the sound barrier.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow me at Backup Bradley above at the top of the screen on Twitter and everything that we're talking about here today. Shout out to XRP Yo-Yo. Boom. Western Union looking into Ripple for cross-border payments with XRP. Now, there was some talk a couple years ago, and it was probably 2018 or what have you, when there was a conversation in a conference that was referenced to, hey, if they can help us, we'll look into it. And that's the way Western Union left it. And they did do like 5 test, literally the number 5 test transactions, and said that it wasn't cost effective back then, and then claimed to basically move on. Well, that is not the case, because when I looked into the article, and shout out to XRP Yo-Yo for this article, the article itself really repeated the knowledge that we had already had from I think they said last June 2019. So now going into this link right here at 2020 American Equity Research by Credit Suisse. Now that yielded a lot more than I thought it was going to. There's 261 pages that I just got done sifting through while listening to the first half of the SEC December 3rd meeting this morning, which will pick back up at 1:30 this afternoon, and I will listen to the rest of it. So far, it's been an absolute snooze fest for crypto holders, but we will continue to monitor it. Now, looking at this document, which is not a snooze fest, this is Credit Suisse, or Suisse, however you say it, that really yielded on page 52. Over here in the cross-border column, you can see that Ripple is clearly listed. Then we see Currency Cloud, Payoneer, other things, entities that we know are tied in to the whole Ripple XRP network. So really great to see that. I'm going to move quickly. Then I'm going to move to page 187. Very quickly here. See if we can get this right. Okay, 187. And like I said, 261 pages I sifted through this morning. You don't have to read one of them. But really great report, I must say. It is a really great report. But here on 187, I wanted to mention this, guys, because as you know, I love Link 2 and private equity. And although you have to be an accredited investor to buy these SPVs of these companies on Link 2, Marqeta is one of them. And Marqeta is cited in this document more than once. And I just wanted to highlight that. And there is a conference coming up with Link 2, and you do not have to be accredited to join that conference. I highly recommend that you do that. There's going to be some great venture capitalists there. You will learn a lot about what's going on in this space. Now, going forward, I want to go to this page because this is relative to how we get paid. This is relative to us understanding the development of our investment, right? Page 213. Let me get this dialed in here. We're almost there. And here we go right here. When I blow this up, and you'll see that in this cryptocurrency impact on the payments ecosystem. But there are nascent and niche use cases we plan to monitor. And then it goes into the breakdown of these things. It talks about the Lightning Network. I want to focus right now, obviously, on MoneyGram Ripple. It says MoneyGram Ripple are partnering to introduce XRP into the MoneyGram platform. This is a 2-year agreement that allows us for XRP and XRapid, which is a platform for utilizing XRP, now known as ODL, to be used in MoneyGram source cross-border transactions. In addition, they paid $50 million investment from Ripple, which they have just announced they're going to sell a portion of their position in MoneyGram, but remain a player in that, and hopes to improve working capital, which it has done year over year. And it says here, TransferWise has evaluated various blockchain technologies, including Ripple, but yet have to find solutions that enables them to improve on the current speed and costs, etc., that they are experiencing today at TransferWise. Western Union says, also evaluating Ripple, although initially was less bullish, trials continue. It is confirmed they are still trialing and testing out Ripple and XRP. Coming over here to cross-border payments here, cross-border B2B is the most meaningful medium-term use case for crypto payments. Up against an existing bank wire transfer, SWIFT messaging, we all know, system that is viewed as less than ideal, utilizes multiple correspondent banks per transaction, resulting in uncertain time in 3 to 5 days if you're lucky, high and also uncertain fees, and high failure rates. Platforms like Ripple have the potential to reduce settlement times from days to seconds and provide savings, low BPS, but large absolute dollars. So you go into this, Ripple, it shows 300 financial institutions using platform RippleNet, which provides an option to use XRP cryptocurrency. JPM coin cited here is a stable coin, USD backed for the use in B2B payments, securities, transactions, and treasury applications. IBM WorldWire, cross-border solution that uses Stellar protocol and multiple digital asset approach, stable coins, central bank coins. And I love hearing that because, you know, I've not been shy about the fact that I'm a big fan of Stellar as well. R3 offers Corda settler. Listen to this very carefully. Oh, there's been a lot of blowback from people in this space on this. This is indisputable, and if you have a problem with it, don't take it up with me. Take it up with Credit Suisse. Offers R3 Corda settler, which supports XRP, but intended to support multiple options, partnering with SWIFT on standards, Global Payments Innovation, SWIFT GPI, Bank of America recently joined MPN. Yeah, there you have it. So now let me go to 214. Where we see Western Union says and acknowledges again testing and considering the use of Ripple XRP for cross-border. Ripple has made the investment into Western Union competitor MoneyGram, which we all know. Now, this was January of this year, so almost a year ago. It was 11 months ago, but this is relevant information because, you know, they are still working with Ripple XRP, and I think that's very exciting. Now, let me move forward here to 229 and just get to this for you guys really quickly here. And this is a great document, but I mean, I'm just, you know, for the sake of keeping this tight, we have a lot of other stuff to look at today, which I feel is quite compelling when you put it all together here. And we're going to do that right now. So looking at this, we drill down here and we see the Durbin Amendment to the Dodd-Frank Act. I've told you guys about the Dodd-Frank Act in the U.S. Treasury and the oversight agency FSOC, the Financial Stability Oversight Council, that has the ability to deem things systemically important to the financial market utility or financial market infrastructure. SIFMU or SIFME is the acronym for those. You will hear me talk about them a lot, and you can put those terms in the search section of my video list, and you will get an enormous amount of information. We are not only waiting for the SEC to make some kind of a decision, because the SEC, honestly, doesn't have to make a decision, I don't feel, as long as, you know, on XRP, as long as FSOC were to come out and say, hey, you know what? The XRP ledger and token are systemically important to the financial market utility because central banks and the Federal Reserve have decided to use the network as a payment infrastructure. That's what it's designed for. When you see this, you see the Durbin Amendment of the Dodd-Frank Act of 2010 says it's really here because it reduced interchange fees earned by debt issuers with greater than $10 billion in assets. Non-Durbin exempt debt capped at 5 BPS at 0.21. So again, this hints and leans into the idea of these areas where they can find reduction in fees and things of that nature, because we're talking about systemically important market infrastructure, global financial market infrastructure. We're going to look at that in just one second. But now let me just move forward really quickly to 251. And let's go down here to 251. Almost there. 251 right here at the bottom right. What I see here, regulations around Money Transfer Bank Secrecy Act regulated by FinCEN, KYC, AML, Dodd-Frank regulated CFPB, right? And additional requirements related to transactions over $3,000, which now has been amended. They want to, the U.S. Treasury, FinCEN, and the Fed want to lower that number to $250. This is a report breakdown on Western Union, and they list a lot of the different areas of what's going on, from scaling to distribution, proximity to customer, all of these things, all these categories. But when I look here and I look in this bottom right, and I see that the Bank Secrecy Act, which we already have seen the OCC, Brian Brooks, deal with those things. We know that the Bank Secrecy Act has been a big part of cryptocurrency and how that's going to roll out and how we're going to legitimize the market through regulatory framework and policy. And then here we see FinCEN, KYC, and AML, which we know XRP is absolutely compliant in KYC, AML, so is RippleNet, right? Dodd-Frank regulated CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is the same bureau that made it effective rule July 21st, 2020, that Ripple and XRP could be used by banks and credit unions for transparency in cross-border transactions. So it would appear to me, with Dodd-Frank being a part of this regulation of money service providers, very, very similar to virtual asset service providers and things of that nature in the digital realm that are handling payments, Dodd-Frank Act is going to be extremely important, I'm telling you right now, in declaring that we will see a systemically important financial market utility for things like the ledger, I do believe. Now, moving forward, we have even more good news, because I just showed you in the document how R3 is absolutely has XRP as an option for settlement on their Corda settler platform, but it is intended to grow into multiple choices of digital assets. Built on R3's Corda, great news, BIS, the bank, the central bank of central banks, check it out on their press release, what they've got going on here. Let's watch this.
The Swiss National Bank, the Bank for International Settlements Innovation Hub, and SIX have joined forces as part of Project Helvetia to investigate how central bank money could be integrated into a distributed ledger technology-based financial market infrastructure. The project consists of two proof of concepts. Both test the functional feasibility of settling tokenized assets, which are traded and settled on the SIX digital exchange in central bank money. In proof of concept number 1, the cash leg of the transaction is settled with a wholesale central bank digital currency, wholesale CBDC, issued directly onto the DLT infrastructure of SDX by the Swiss National Bank. As part of proof of concept number 1, 4 use cases were investigated: issuance or tokenization of wholesale CBDC, redemption or detokenization of wholesale CBDC, delivery versus payment settlement of tokenized assets against wholesale CBDC, and transfer of wholesale CBDC or wholesale CBDC payment. In proof of concept number 2, interoperability between the DLT infrastructure of SDX and the Swiss RTGS system SIC is established, and the cash leg of the transaction is settled in SIC balances. As part of proof of concept number 2, 1 use case was investigated: delivery versus payment settlement of tokenized assets against SIC balances.
There And there you have it. You know, this is just getting so big. I'm telling you, XRP is about to break the sound barrier because it's somewhere in this. You're going to have to resolve the friction between these items, you know, these central bank digital currencies, these tokens of value that represent whatever that particular asset is, or fiat money, whatever it happens to be. There is friction in the digital world. XRP is the oil to that friction. There's no question about it. Now, so shout out to R3 and everything they've done, and shout out to the BIS and the FinTech Innovation Hub that they've been working on. We're about to see, I believe, very soon, the launch of central bank digital currencies, at the very least on the wholesale level, for central banks to begin using them between themselves. Looking at this right here, Japanese investment company tests Ripple's use in FX Market. SBI Holdings and FX Coin Ltd. have begun testing the use of Ripple's crypto XRP in settling credits and corporate debts. I don't know what else you want to hear, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the intended uses right here. And I mean, I want to see it used full scale. And the only way it does is if XRP is deemed a currency. That's really how you're going to get the best out of it. Could they make it a utility token? Look, you call it a candy cane. I don't care what you call it. Just as long as you treat it like a currency, because it's meant to settle other currencies and other things of value as a bridge asset in between those. So it needs to be money. The bottom line is the world needs to see it as money, and I believe the world will see it as money. All right, so looking at this here, moving on, the OMFIF, and let's see if I can remember this, the Official Monetary Financial Institutions Forum. That's it. I'm pretty sure it is, and if not, you have to tell me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. And there's so many acronyms in this space, you couldn't blame me if I did get it wrong. But the reality here is they're an independent think tank to central banks and governments around the world. They are enormous. They are always in the conversation. Not long ago, a week or so ago, I just covered the IMF and a conference that was going on there, and there was people from the IMF, the Bretton Woods, and the people from OMFIF and the U.S. Treasury, places like that. They are a part of the inner circle. They really are inside the secret dome. They help craft these ideas and things that everyone's planning on doing at that level, and then make the recommendations. That's what they do. Looking here, it says a spotlight on Ripple. Rather than compete with large banking companies, Ripple plans to partner with leading financial institutions and provide them with a blockchain solution instead of converting dollars into other currencies, which entails exchange rate costs, processing fees, and slow transaction times. One bank can transfer, for example, $5 million worth of XRP to another bank's Ripple portfolio, which can then be converted into a local currency. Ripple is seeking to position itself as an alternative to SWIFT. Its software controls the relevant banks, funds, and updates each party's accounting books. The settlement process is completed in seconds by consolidating liquidity to service international payments from many disjointed international Nostro accounts into one XRP pool. Responded banks allocate less total liquidity service to same volume of global payments. The bank only has to hold its domestic currency and maintain one account with XRP, with only enough XRP to service the largest expected payment obligation. The process minimizes the number of intermediaries in their markup on spreads. That is the best breakdown that you could ever give. If somebody said, yeah, but what do they use it for? Well, this is really it right here, right? This is really the big, holy grail moment. There is, I thought I took it down, but there it is. It is the Official Monetary and Financial Institutions Forum. Okay, now, here's where I wanted to remind you that back in August, Mickey B. Fresh and myself covered the International Monetary Fund. And we're going to see some parallels here because this is pretty interesting. Because inside that document in section 103 here, We see where it breaks down, and I'll unhighlight it. It's a little easier to read. Risk specific to payment service providers other than payment systems overseen by FRB are not fully addressed and dedicated by regulatory requirements. Now, let me see if I can jump in here just to give you a shot of this. It says here, the Money Transmission Act at a state level are dating back to the 70s and are designed to protect consumer transactions sent as remittances, not payment infrastructure like activities, such as offered by card payment schemes or certain distributed ledger technology-based platforms. Card payment schemes are not considered to be retail payment infrastructures and have not been designated as systemically important by the FSOC, the Financial Stability Oversight Council. This is the IMF, talking about what I've been running up your flagpole for months and months, if not over a year now, maybe 2. But the reality is that this is enormous. They're acknowledging this. Card payment schemes are not considered to be retail payment infrastructures and have not been designated as systemically important by the FSOC. Despite processing payments with annual values of trillions of dollars through multilateral arrangements based on common rule books, Visa considering itself to be a global payment system, RippleNet is designed as a wholesale payment system without being subject to payment system specific requirements, other than requirements posed by banks. There is, however, some limited scrutiny by FinCEN and the Federal Reserve, which, by the way, wink wink, are changing and have changed the definition of money in those agencies to include convertible virtual currencies like XRP. Yep, don't believe it. It's still true. And I want to run this by you while we're here. Visa will facilitate USDC payments thanks to fresh partnership with USDC and Jeremy Allaire and everyone over there at Circle. Visa has teamed up with blockchain services company Circle to make USD coin stablecoin transactions compatible with certain credit cards. After Circle itself graduates from Visa's Fast Track program, likely sometime next year, Visa will issue a credit card that lets businesses send and receive USDC payments directly from any business using the card. Now, let me just pull back here, okay? Brian Brooks has told us we need a public-private relationship here, that we can roll with the stable coins that are out here like the USDC coin, which he cited when talking with Jeremy Allaire, that when he was at Coinbase, Brian Brooks said, when I was at Coinbase, Jeremy, as you remember, you and I worked on what I believe was one of the most important projects of our lifetime, which was the USDC coin, the US dollar coin. And now you see Visa partnering with them. And now I just showed you in this writing right here, Visa considering itself to be a global payment system, and the comparing of it to RippleNet, right, is designed as a wholesale payment system. And now looking at the connection of the US dollar coin with Visa and understanding that Brian Brooks has suggested a public-private relationship, not that that is a public company or a public government system of Visa, but my point is that if the Fed or the Treasury come out and say the USD coin can be looked at as the US digital dollar, there's your public-private relationship right there. And you know what? They just connected it to the largest payment network with Visa. And you know what else? It ain't going to be long, and it looks like they're going to take RippleNet and attach that infrastructure and all of it that belongs to it right up underneath the framework and the housing of it, and we are off to the races. And when we do, I think we hear from the U.S. Treasury and FSOC, Financial Stability Oversight Council, about deeming this stuff that we're talking about, RippleNet possibly, or XRP Ledger and the token, systemically important to financial market utility designations. Why do I think that? Well, because it would be held to a heightened prudential, for one. And number two, the clearinghouse payments company is a example of a SIF mule. and as it operates of Clearinghouse Interbank Payment Systems, or CLS Bank International, or Chicago Mercantile Exchange, or the Depository Trust Company, which is also working with distributed ledger technology, and I wouldn't think it's a thin limb to assume that's probably Ripple. Fixed Income Clearing Corporation, ICE Clear Credit, National Security Clearing Corporations, Options Clearing Corporation. You know, this to me is really where we need to be here. I think we are in a moment where we keep seeing everything be pushed to the moment where not only is the SEC being looked at for a decision here, but I believe FSOC is as well. And that isn't just my words. That came from the IMF document that recommends it too for RippleNet. That's going to do it for me. Hit the like and subscribe. XRP is about to break the sound barrier, and I can't wait to watch it. Catch you on the next one. Make sure you check out the links in the description box and the comment section below for anything you may want or need. They are trusted links, and I will catch all of you on the next one.